all of you to my YouTube channel, Animals and Pets with Partha. Today I am going to talk about the dogs of the Darjeeling Hills. Why Darjeeling? I must add that I have a resort there and I live there. Half the time I spend in Darjeeling and the other half in my city where I was born, Calcutta. Well, Darjeeling is just an overnight journey from here, and it's just about around 600 kilometers from the city of Calcutta. Now, dogs, British created this Darjeeling as a summer destination for them because Calcutta grew very warm and hot during summers. Of course, we have a governor's house also there. So the governor also went to his summer home in Darjeeling. Darjeeling is surrounded with British history. A lot of his structures, a lot of his restaurants, a lot of his establishments speak of heritage gone by. It is a place where when you go around the place what you see is even in the remote tea garden areas, you see British type bungalows, and then you have of course in the Mall Road, the bazaar, you have so many buildings that are heritage buildings. There is a restaurant called Glenary's and there is Kevinta's and there are a lot more which are new. Glenary's is 1855 and it's an iconic restaurant and a cake shop where people go and, there's a place where you can photograph yourself with the Glenary's at the background. So, but apart from all this, dogs of Darjeeling have also been very, very famous. And not only they have been famous, but they have gone all over the world. Now, the sad part is, those dogs, breeds like Lhasa Apsos, primarily, and of course then there is the bhotia kutta, then there is of course the Bhutia Dog, or what they call it. These are the dogs that existed in Darjeeling for centuries. And the Lhasa Apsos, which people there used to guard their monasteries, the small dogs, hairy dogs, of course. Now, what happened is, the Britishers took a lot of these dogs from the hills of Darjeeling to their country, and then it went to other parts of the world, including in USA, Canada, everywhere. So over this, hundreds of years, they have been migrating to different countries and parts of the world. But I would say in the last quite a few decades, maybe half a century or so, the quality started dwindling. And last 2 decades, before 2 decades, we could still see some good Lhasa Apsos in the hills of Darjeeling. Not really so great, because once they migrated to other countries and the Britishers developed a standard for them, and the standard, of course, they took into consideration, and in consultation with the locals, they developed a standard, and that standard is followed even today. Now, what happened is, these dogs were going to all across the country. People used to go and bring them in, cage loads, I would say, 10, 20, in dozens would be the correct numbers. And there would be so many traders who would be bringing them down by train and taking them all across the country. And people bought them as pets because they were nice and hairy looking and very pretty, and they would be small dogs. So people had an attraction for it. But then what happened is, slowly the foreign breeds infiltrated, and not only that, the lack of knowledge in the hills about the dogs, the culture never grew there. Means once the Britishers left, and once Along with it, of course, the dogs which were primarily they have cultivated and developed across the world, and of course then the other countries all followed. But then what happened is there was a void. Like in Calcutta, we still had a few old timers who were trained by the British people, and they continued the they passed on the knowledge to the forthcoming generations like us. We were first generation educated in dogs by people who were actually learned their dogs from the Britishers. Anyway, that's history, of course, or will be history, of course. But what I want to insist is now the hills of Darjeeling do not have any reasonable quality Lhasa Apsos bred by locals anymore, because they're all been disintegrated. They've all been bred by the influx of Spitz, this white German Spitz or whatever you call them, a lot of them, and then they went into the hills and people took them and then they started breeding with them, thinking that the nice colors and things like that, because they had no clue how to breed to a standard. Because for that you need to know the standard, you need to be educated with the standard. There should be dog shows where you can get your dogs assessed or experts. So all that lacking, so the breeds are disintegrated. Then came the what they call the bhotias, the crossbreds between all these Lhasas and whatever, the bote kukur, butte or whatever. And then you developed a bhotia dog. So the bhotias were also going out across the country. But then of late, in the developed, all these cities across India, people have become more enlightened and educated. So they buy, foreign breeds like Siberian Huskies and Golden Retrievers and, whatnot. Labradors, of course, are plenty. And then you have pugs and you have anything, you name it, and they're in the market in their cages. People are overbreeding them, Pomeranians, in thousands. And you see, every small towns are now having all this, but then they're all selling all we have foreign breeds, not so these dogs finally didn't get the market lost the market of Calcutta and other towns and cities. And what happens is there are now in the hills, of course, you find a lot of leopards, So all these stray dogs that were breeding, and then, in those days maybe leopards were less, I guess, or the dogs were more. Slowly their population, the leopards roam the abandoned tea gardens, forest areas, and then they have lots of course, deers and everything. But once in a while, they would love to have pick up a dog or a puppy or whatever they can find. So dogs and puppies would stay in the where humans stay. So they will roam these areas at darkness, and they in search of dogs. Now, so the numbers now, what you get now is a very poor quality bhotia, what they call it still, and they're the only market that they have is the Siliguri market, which is about 40 pet shops selling puppies in cages, and these dogs are practically buy for 1 to 100 rupees, or maybe lots of them come free because they just breed on their own. And as if practically bred in the wild. They're not bred for a purpose to breed or sell or nothing like that. It's not real farming, because you can't make money by selling it for 100 to 200 rupees. Now those dogs are then sold to the Siliguri market, which of course people have to go around, collect, and then transport it to Siliguri, and it costs about 1,200 or whatever. 12, 14, 1,500, according to the quality, to the shop owners. And the shop owners would sell it for 3,500, 4,000 rupees, which is the cheapest dog you can get anywhere. So this is the scenario of the what do you call bhotia dogs of and it's sad, of course, that the hills of Darjeeling lost this what do you call iconic dog, the Lhasa Apsos. The Lhasa Apsos are all across the world. It is one of the most gorgeous breeds in the galaxy of purebred dogs. And I have owned Lhasas all my life, and I remember having bred many, and my Lhasas went to very important people across the country and to other countries. There was a lady in Bhutan who's wife of a royalty in Bhutan. She, I remember, about 53, over years, of course, maybe 10 years or more, 53 Lhasa Apsos. And then later on, of course, I came to know that those Lhasas used to find their way to the United States, where she came from. And that would go for $1,000 to $2,000. So that's quite interesting. Of course, I didn't grudge it, because I was a very modest breeder, and I had a price for which I would sell a good well-bred Lhasa for. So it was very, very cheap. If you can say, I don't like to mention the price, but that was what it is. Say around 6,000 rupees was the price I would charge her, and that those puppies from 6,000, she would buy them, and then they would be sold to the United States for 1,000 to 2,000. And the better ones, of course, could go for even more. Now, having said all that, you see, the Bhutia dogs are the dogs that you buy thinking it's, once you buy them and bring them to the plains, in the heat and all that, they lose whatever little extra coat they might have, and they will look most ordinary, just like any other dog on the streets that you see, our stray dogs. Is because what happens in the cold climate, they tend to have a little bit of coat, and so that is what actually makes it a little different. And you think the coat is going to grow and things like that and whatnot, but it's not really that. And then what happens is, if you are looking at a really beautiful dog, well, then please don't take them, because you might be disappointed and leave it on the roads. Because already our roads are overpopulated with abundant dogs and stray dogs and things like that. And all dog lovers, even myself, we are coping with this tremendous problem. We are trying to feed them. There is a lot of resistance because they come into clash with humans. So all that is there. There is a lot of issue to be addressed, and we have to unite ourselves in our effort to see that there is very little cruelty inflicted upon the poor stray dogs. I would suggest, if you want to adopt, no need to buy all these and then bring to Qatar, because this ultimately will look like the ordinary street dog here. It's better you pick up a street dog from the road, which is, if that, you will be doing a great service to the animal world and to the human society in general, in your locality, in the city, in your town that you live, and for the country, and for the poor dogs, of course. With these final words, I would say that please wait for my next episode, which will come soon. And till then, bye-bye, and do subscribe and do share my channel with animal-loving friends. Thank you, and bye-bye.